All right, everyone. Welcome back to Historical Geology 1404. Today is Exam 1 Review Day. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, no, the sheer panic. I'm going to have this up here probably all day. The Artemis II rocket launch is tonight at 5:23, this being April 1st, 2026. We just got some information about the launch, and they'll be sharing some more information as the T-minus countdown continues. Then there's the L-minus countdown. Basically, a T-minus countdown is where they hit the different timestamps for every pre-launch preparation, and then L-minus is the time to actual launch. So this timer up here, L minus 7 hours and 35 minutes. But then you'll be hearing them say things like T minus this. And what that means is this much time until this timestamp for pre-launch prep. So right now they're in the liquid oxygen stage. When they're done with that, they'll start putting oxygen in the secondary systems and things like that. So yeah, so I'll just keep this up because it's exciting. This is a historic day. If we actually manage to get to launch, this will be the first time in more than 50 years people will have gone out to the moon. And the first time in history that anyone will have gone this far from Earth because they are going past the moon. So, pretty cool day, pretty cool day. And if you know me at all, you'll know that this is something that would make you excited. Okay. Yes, Exam 1 review. Now, Exam 1 covers Module 1, which you've already seen is pretty much just solid review from 1403. I added probably 20% new stuff in there. 80% of everything we've talked about so far in the class has been 1403 review. But for some of you, it's been a while since you took 1403. So we are having an exam review today. I did not get any questions from my online students for this exam review. So the review will go exactly as long as those of you here in person continue to ask questions. So you all know the drill by now. My method for doing exam reviews is I encourage you to go into your notes to see where your notes are weakest. You can use your notes on these exams as with 1403. Yes? Can we use notes from 1403? Yes, you can use your notes from 1403, which is why I encourage you to keep them, right? My classes build on each other. 1404 requires you to have the knowledge from 1403 because I'll be talking about things later on in 1404 when we get into the deeper subjects that you're not familiar with yet, assuming that you remember certain things from 1403. I don't have the time to go over them again, which is why we took these 2 weeks at the beginning for recap. Okay? So please, please, please keep and continue using your notes from 1403. Your exam has 20 questions on it. It's either 19 or 20. I want to say 20, but it might be 19. I might have taken a question off since last year. But it's around there. And it's mostly going to be over the same sort of things we discussed in 1403. But I did teach you about a few new concepts, right, this time around. A wider application of those same 1403 principles. And I may bring some of those ideas out in this exam as well. As usual, please, no Google, no textbooks, no AI, none of that. I do catch it, okay? Yeah, I think that's all. Oh, it will open today, and it will close on Sunday night. We'll keep it open through Sunday night so that everyone hopefully has it done by the time we come back together on Monday. Yes, we are having class on Monday. I know that some colleges and universities take Easter Monday off, but we are not. Is ECISD open on Monday? Okay. Well, this is what happens if that ever had. So ECISD sometimes has holidays, and the college doesn't have those holidays. I still teach class. I know that you guys don't really have any way to get here, but for us to stay on schedule, I have to keep teaching class. So if in this case ECISD says Easter Monday, we're off, I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be teaching, even if it's to an empty room or a room with just Alma. And let's see, who else in here? PJ? Yeah, he's not here right now, but yeah, that's what we would do. And I would just have you guys watch the recordings if you weren't able to be here. Okay, yes. Other questions? And remember, once this exam review is over, I will not be answering any content-related questions until after the exam window is closed. If you are having troubles with any labs or anything, now is also the time to ask that. So yeah, go through your notes, do all that.
This is Artemis Launch Control. We are currently 7 hours and 30 minutes and counting from the opening of today's launch window for the Artemis II mission. That launch window opens at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time, and teams do have a 2-hour launch window, which means that if we don't launch right at the beginning at 6:24, they do have an additional 2 hours in which they can attempt to launch. Our launch team is currently in Firing Room 1 at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida and are in the process of loading cryogenic or super cold liquid propellant onto the SLS or the Space Launch System rocket.
Is that just pre-recorded? They just replay it until like...
Now teams did just complete fast fill for the liquid
No,
hydrogen
this
tank
is
on the upper stage.
Antonia
Cryogenic
Jamia, I
propulsion
think is her
stage.
name. She
Now,
works for
fast fill
NASA
refers
communication
to loading propellants
communication
at
specialist.
a faster rate. This is preceded by chill down, which gets the system ready to receive these super cold temperatures. And then following fast fill, teams will then transition into topping and replenish. I'll get more into those, but before that, again, we just finished fast fill for the liquid hydrogen tank on the upper stage, and teams are now performing, before they start topping, what is called a vented relief test. This test is basically just pressurizing the upper stage tanks with heliums to test the relief capabilities of the tank pressure to make sure that it can handle that pressure capability during flight.
Why would they use helium?
So between fast fill and topping, teams will perform this test on both the liquid hydrogen and the liquid oxygen
Where's helium?
tanks on the upper stage.
It's a noble gas.
Following
It
that
won't
test
react with the other
completion, we'll then
gases.
transition into topping, which just means finishing loading the rest of the tank to 100%. Following topping, we enter what is called replenish
Should be
mode,
able to. Does it not?
which basically just means that now we're going to be replenishing these tanks at 100% level.
I love
Because
Blackboard.
as we naturally get throughout the countdown, that propellant is going to start.
Sorry, I'm going to fix something in Blackboard real quick. Apparently, y'all can't see what you got wrong on your labs, which means that there is a setting that I need to click. And even though I have it clicked on my master section, which I copy into every other section I teach, apparently it doesn't define anything. You mean like a word or a phrase? Very possible. Yeah, I've done that on other exams, so it's absolutely possible here. Let's see. In 1403, I asked you to tell me about the principle of uniformitarianism.
That one's that what worked in the past work today.
Well, I would need to know the actual definition. Yeah. That's the essence of it. Can anyone remind me what the principle of uniformitarianism is? Yes? No? No? Yes? Yes, no? Very true. Physical, chemical, and biological laws that operate today are also operate in the geologic past. after individual grade is posted. Okay. All right. So my in-person students, you should be able to see the scores for your lab 1 now. It's really annoying. It's going to make me do that every time, even though I have it this way in my master shell. And I'll go in and do the same thing for my online students. One. Will you let me know if did it work? Yeah. Okay, great. Pardon the state of my hair, by the way. I was here until about almost midnight last night doing my homework, and then went home, straight up crashed, and then woke up this morning, and I had to take my minivan to the auto shop, and then those people had to wait until their shuttle was ready to bring me back here, so I didn't have enough time to go to the gym, so I didn't do my hair. So it looks crazy.
Stage and the Orion spacecraft practicing proximity maneuvers where the Orion spacecraft will practice approaching and getting away from the upper stage in a high Earth orbit. The reason teams want to practice this is in preparation for Artemis III and future Artemis missions for when Orion docks with our lunar landing systems. And so because of this means that the interim cryogenic propulsion stage will be separating from Orion much sooner. Meaning that following this demonstration, it will be Orion's European service module that will actually send the spacecraft on its trajectory to the moon. It will perform what is called the translunar injection burn. Now, this proximity operation is scheduled to happen during the first day of flight, so pretty soon. And NASA will be providing you with 24/7 live coverage, starting right now as we have been going through our propellant loading operations, and we will continue throughout the course of the entire mission, including all of the splashdown operations.
Okay, these are the 4 astronauts that are going up.
Artemis II will send NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen on a 10-day mission around the moon and back. Orion is scheduled to splash down off the coast of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean.
What was your question? What prepares them? So the first thing that you need are specialized skills. You need to actually be someone who can contribute to a mission in space. Then you need to be someone who is physically capable of going up there. Okay? Someone without a health condition that might become severe or cause you to die once you get up there or en route. So all of these people have been chosen because they have training or were capable of receiving training for the specific purposes of this mission. In the future, as travel to and from space gets cheaper and easier, more people with less specialized skills will be able to go, right? Like right now, only people who are like the best of the best experts can go because we need to make sure that there's a very little chance that anything could go wrong. In 20 years, maybe they'll have, I don't know, schmucks like me be able to go up there. People who are super enthusiastic and know a lot about it, but are not, you know, I teach junior college geology, and I'm getting a PhD in space law and policy, but that doesn't mean that I'm a qualified astronaut. I would love to go up there, and maybe in 20 years someone like me could, but definitely not right now. They can only send the people who already are the most prepared, or can easily become the most prepared, right? I don't know how to fly a rocket.
Do you think like it becomes easier and cheaper? Do you think it would be like kind of like a tour thing or like
Yeah, space tourism is going to be huge. It's already a thing. Yeah. Companies are already selling tons of money, like tons of tickets for a lot of money. Like Katy Perry went up there, right? A lot of people that can afford it can go up there. If you have $600,000 to put into a ticket, go for it, right? And space tourism, I was actually having this conversation with some other folks in my degree program the other day. Space tourism is probably going to be the first economically profitable market in space, purely because the resources that are in space that we could derive value from are going to be used in space first, long before they come here. It's called in situ resource utilization, okay? So it's a lot cheaper to use things that are already in space than to take things from Earth and put them in space and use them. So things like water and metal on the moon, we're going to use those before we, want to take any of that stuff back to Earth. So it's going to be a long time before anything of economic value begins to circulate in the Earth markets from space. But tourism is something that we already have a history of here on Earth as being used as an economic base in situations where there is no resource base. For example, a lot of the Pacific Island nations, right? Places like Tonga and Fiji, they don't export a lot of goods. Their main economic input is through tourism. Their economies are based largely on tourism, right? So that's essentially going to be what happens up in space too. Tourism first, then an actual flourishing, robust economy based on probably resources. Yeah. Good question. Yes, tourism. It's going to be big. Any other questions about space or the exam? Oh, you finished these? Thank you so much. I will put those away here in a little bit. Also, Chloe, I am going to need to excuse myself at 11 for a little bit. There is a faculty meeting sort of event thing at 11 that they told me I should be at. But I can't excuse these guys that early, so I'll just be gone for a little bit. Huh? I still couldn't hear you. No. I mean, I let you guys go like 5 to 10 minutes early sometimes, but an hour and 20 minutes early, that's not going to happen. I used to. Wish I could. What you could do, though, if, once everyone in this room is feeling comfortable enough with the idea of taking the exam, we could end the review and I could open the exam and you guys could just take it in here. Get it over with. It's entirely up to you. It's only 20 questions. Alma, you feeling good about the exam?
A little bit, yeah. So I'm gonna go over my notes from last semester.
Okay. Okay. Good call. Is there anything in particular that I can help you feel better about?
Not anything that comes to my mind at the moment, but I was wanting to look at my notes really quick and just my assignments and I'll email that.
Okay. You ready? Think you're ready for it?
I mean, prepare mentally, but I think I'm ready.
How do you prepare mentally for an exam? I'm curious.
Procrastinated to the last minute. And because I have all the pressure on me, that's whenever I do my best.
Okay, so your preparation strategy is procrastinate and wait until the pressure is as high as it can possibly get and then go for it.
Yeah. So that's whenever I'm thinking the clearest.
Oh yeah. Oh, interesting strategy. I can't condone that strategy, but I also can't stop you. So yeah. I think that the line between procrastination and healthy preparation is a thin line. I think that not taking it immediately is probably wise if it means that you spend more time preparing. Procrastination would be, it sounds like you've got it right on the head, right? You hit it right on the head. I'm just not going to take it. I'm not going to prepare more for it, but I'm just not going to take it until I have to. So, some honesty there. Okay, all right.
Like, don't get me wrong, I still use my nose.
Right.
But I'm more inclined to get it right because I'm more focused and more eager to get it done.
All right. Well, we'll see. Genesis, how do you prepare for an exam? Sit down in your living room and do it there. Do you have anything like that you do first, or anything like do you have a glass of water there with you? Do you have a certain snack? Is there any way that you have found that you like to take exams? Just have some water there. You get the TikTok craze out. You get your fix before you jump into the exam. It's a good call. Good call. Cole, how do you prepare for an exam? How do you prepare for an exam?
Usually, I like to look at their view and take notes, and then usually I just take these with the notes and hope I can get it.
Okay. Heavy note usage. Do you feel like you are good at taking notes? Do you think you found a good system for taking notes? Good. How do y'all feel like, this is just a general question to the class, how do you feel about your note-taking strength? Do you feel like you've gotten a good system with it? You what? You have an 8? Oh, 8 out of 10. I was going to say, where's the scale? 8 out of 9, 8 out of 11, 8 out of 100? Okay, 8 out of 10. Okay. So you're pretty confident in your note-taking skills. Good. This is the secret. I don't need to think that your note-taking skills are good. You do, right? If your notes make sense to you and they feel complete to you and you feel confident in them, that means the world. You could look at my notes and they can make 0 sense to you. They'd probably have a lot more content and probably be more efficiently organized because I've had a lot more experience with taking notes than you guys. But they would probably mean less to you than your own notes because it's not you that wrote them down, right? It's not the system that your mind works in. So just be confident in your own note-taking skills and work at it and change it until you find a system that works for you.
What type of notes do you take? You know, there's like different types of notes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a formal system that I follow. I kind of work in a hierarchical system, right? Where I'll have, say, when we start covering a new subject, I'll have whatever it is, and anything that's underlined is the beginning of a new subject in my notes. Okay. Underneath of that, I have bullets. Okay. So I'll have a bullet here for this fact, bullet here for this fact, bullet here for this fact. If there's anything that is supplemental to that and relevant that I need to take note of, I'll use a dash. Dash, blah, 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 dash, blah, 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 right? Like that. And then if I've gotten this far and then I learned something else about, say, this right here that I want to add in there, but I've already got everything under it, so I can't put stuff in there, then it depends on the format that I'm using. If I'm using like a smaller piece of paper, I'll probably, honestly, I usually just kind of like draw an arrow and then write something in the margins. And it ends up looking pretty messy, but it works in my head, right? Yeah, obviously note-taking on a computer is probably more efficient and better in the long run for keeping it nice and clean, but I'm way slower taking notes on a computer than I am writing by hand.
I feel like I'm better at taking notes on paper than
Yeah.
actually like writing it down.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
kinda
Yeah. There are some people that can type out hundreds of words a minute, and that is crazy to me, right? But I've never been able to do that. I do maybe 20 to 30 words a minute.
Welcome back. This is Artemis Launch Control. We are currently
Finish your thought?
all the 911 operators, like,
Yeah, they got to type real fast. 911 operators got to type real fast. But yeah, this is just a system I found works for me. And I also, I have a color coding system, but that is more self-contained within the subject. So if I know that my subject is going to require a lot of notes and I need another level of note-taking, and I need to have it for quick reference, like for a timed exam. Like for the exam for the space law class I'm in right now, I had to take a 20-question exam in 1 hour, right? And so all of the notes that I write for that are not only organized like this, they're also color-coded, right? So like I'll know that red means this, and yellow means this, and orange or green or blue or whatever means this. So I'll have different colors of ink I write them in and different highlighters to color them as well. So if like, say, the subject of, I don't know, eminent domain, anything that has to do with that, I'll write in blue ink. But then anything that has to do with precedent, like the subject of precedent is a red highlighter. And so anything that has to do with both of those will be in the blue ink with a red highlight on top of it, right? So that's another level of note-taking that I like to utilize when I know I'm going to need my notes for quick reference, like bang, 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 right? And I'll also use tabs on my notebook. So I'll get the little cheap tabs from Walmart, like the plastic ones, and I'll have those color-coded to the highlighted colors. So I'll know, oh, there's a question about precedent. Okay, so go to the red tab, flip through it, flip through it, flip through it. Okay, eminent domain, anything with blue ink, you know? So just a quick reference system for my head. Now that works really well, but there's a learning curve to that because my colors will shift by class. So like what red means, well, a red highlighter might mean precedent in my space law class. It'll mean something totally different in my energy and earth systems class. And so the first few weeks, I'm just getting used to the transition of what the different colors mean in my notes. So it's useful during the class, but there's a little bit of a learning curve to go from one subject to another for the same color. Yeah. You get used to it though.
I like that.
I've been in college for 10 years. I've had a lot of time to figure it out. Between my associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, and now 2 years into my PhD, yeah, I've had a lot of time to work this out and find a system that I like. I'm not saying that it takes that long to find a system you like. I've just found one over that time. Hopefully you guys find one, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Have additional opportunities throughout that 2-hour launch window.
Okay. Other questions about the exam? Nathaniel, you ready?
As ready as I can be.
As ready as you can be. Hey, man, yeah. Do it. Yeah. Honestly, that's something that I also do. If I feel I'm a little weak on any particular subject, I'll jump onto the lecture recordings of my professor, and I'll.
Terrible memory, so my memory's all fuzzy.
Huh?
So I have to go back.
Yeah. Notes help with that, but yeah, I'll if I'm folding laundry or if I'm in the evenings, I like to paint things. I 3D print things. I think I told you guys this before. I have a small 3D printing business. Right now, I'm 3D printing Catan board game set, and I'm painting each piece individually. So in the evenings, I'll like to go in there and do that. And I'll just have my professor's lectures playing in the background so I can kind of passively listen to all of that. I'll have listened to them already. Like in the evenings when I'm here, that's part of the homework I'm doing is catching up with the lectures because my professors have their lectures on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Mondays, Wednesdays while I'm teaching. So I can't attend their lectures, so I watch their recordings later on. But yeah, and then I'll listen to them again later on in the evenings when I'm actually at home. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. That's good strategy. Emma, what's your exam prep strategy?
I don't have one. I just dug it out.
She just does it.
Well, I'm bad at notes because I can't take notes without feeling the need to record every single little thing someone says. Because then I'll be like, oh, well, I'll forget it.
I had a student do that.
I mean, I could maybe do it, but I have to go back and have something summarized.
Yeah, I would not encourage you to do that. This student was very perfectionist. And she would watch each of my lectures 4 or 5 times and write down every word that I said. She showed me her notes at the end of the term, and it was a 3-ring binder that thick because she wrote down every word I said during class. Now, that is absolutely a strategy you can do. Not one I encourage, because that is a lot of time. And if this is the only class you're taking, sure, go for it. But, I would bet money she probably failed her other classes by putting that much time in on this one. And that's not what I want you guys to do, right? I want you guys to get an appreciation for my subject, but to succeed overall. So don't shut everything else out at the cost of doing great in one thing. Not when it's, something like this. Because a D is a D, an F is an F. You should strive to excel in every class, but if it comes down to it and you had to choose between a B in every class or an A in one and a C in the rest, go for a B in all your other classes. It's just try and spread your time the best way that you can. Be wise about it, right? There's a lot of clouds moving in over the rocket. Hopefully that's not a problem. So later tonight, when all of you are watching this launch, you're all going to watch the launch, right? Yeah.
I'll try.
When you're watching the launch, and if you go back and you look at launches from other in the past, you'll notice that to the perspective of the camera looking at the rocket, it looks like the rocket is kind of at an angle. Anyone want to guess why that would be? Yeah, they enter at an angle and they leave at an angle. They got to get into orbit, but that's not why.
I don't know why, I just know that they have to do that.
Yeah, they have to do that. You're going to see that the rocket's going to be a little bit at an angle as it's going up through the atmosphere. Because Earth is turning. Yeah, Earth is spinning, which means that as soon as the rocket takes off from it, Earth is spinning under it, and it needs to be at an angle to cut up through the shortest cross-section of the atmosphere. Okay? If it went straight up, so if this is the surface of the planet, and this is the atmosphere, the rocket goes straight up. Instead, it's doing that because the Earth is turning under it. If it's at an angle, if it's pointed at an angle, it stays going at the right angle that it needs to cut through the atmosphere at the angle it needs to leave at a perpendicular angle, okay? Straight up 90 degrees from Earth's surface. Less atmosphere to cut through, less fuel needed to get through the atmosphere, right? It's for efficiency, but you'll see that later on. They might adjust the camera actually to fix that, but they are at an angle. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about lab. What do you want to know?
I was just kind of confused. Got it wrong.
For which lab?
Lab
Lab 1. I opened it up so you should be able to see what you got wrong. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your specific question?
I have a specific question. Hold on, let me get back to you. I'm trying to figure something out.
Sure, yeah. The instructions for Lab 2? Absolutely, we can talk about that. Lab 2 is all about stratigraphic columns, okay? How to read them, how to write them. A stratigraphic column is the way that geologists communicate information about stratigraphic sections to each other, which is the sequence of layers of rock and the stories that they tell over time, okay? Each layer of rock that happens in a sequence is deposited as a result of the environment that was there at the time. So a medium-grained sandstone tells a different story than a fossiliferous limestone or a layer of coal or anything like that, okay? So that's what this is for. Any geologist anywhere around the world can look at a stratigraphic column and understand what it is saying and what the patterns can represent. So this first section, this first column I should say, that's grain size. You're going to be using one line, one vertical line that continuously moves all the way down through that section, zigzagging back and forth based upon whatever the grain size is for that sequence. So you can see up here, this description, it says medium grained sandstone. So you'll come over here to grain size and you'll see, okay, so over here on the right, it goes clay, silt, and then there's the sand section, very fine, fine, medium, coarse, very coarse, and then all the way here on the left, gravel, 4 and 64. Those are the millimeters for gravel sizes, right? So for medium grain sandstone, where would my grain size line be? For this first row here, which is medium grained sandstone. Yeah, the M in sand, medium. Yeah, and then you would pull that line all the way down through that whole row. What's the next one? Siltstone. Well, what size is siltstone going to be? Silt, yeah, siltstone will have silt-sized particles. Good. So you'll draw that line horizontally over silt and then vertically all the way down through that row to the next one. Limestone. What grain size does limestone have? Yeah, it's microscopic. So we're going to say that's clay. Okay, clay is smaller than the eye can see. So you can see like down here in the bottom, do you see the very last row where I have, kind of a spoiler, but that block-like section there, that's limestone. I have the grain size there at clay as well. So you'll do the same thing over here for this limestone, so on and so forth. So that's how your grain size line works. Your next column, that is lithology. That's where you're going to use the key that I gave you in your Lab 2 PowerPoint. There is a page on there that has a key, and that key is going to tell you what the symbols mean and how to draw them. So for medium grain sandstone and all of the rest of those that I gave you the descriptions for, but left the lithology section blank, you need to fill the lithology in based on using that key in the PowerPoint. Then on the bottom 3 rows, you can see I gave you the lithology symbols, and you are going to use that key plus the grain size lines that I gave you there to give me the description for the bottom 3 rows. So there's 3 things you'll need to do here. Fill in the 4 blank grain size sections based on the description, fill in the 4 blank lithology sections based on the description, and fill in the 3 blank description sections based on the grain size and lithology. Cool?
What about where it says coarse to medium grain? Like, would it just be right in the middle? Coarse to
You could draw that in the middle. If it says coarse to medium grain, you could put that in the middle, or going back and forth between the two. Or you could just, yeah, those are pretty much your only options there. Yeah. Any other questions about Lab 2?
Okay. I'm just gonna ask about these two because I'm like.
Sure, bearing in mind that I am mic'd and recording right now.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
All right.
So this one over here,
Yeah.
is this like another word for it? Like, cause like I found like another word. It's what is it called?
When did you submit this?
Oh.
Was that 2 days ago? No.
No, I haven't resubmitted it. It's 3/24, so
A week ago?
7. Yeah, like a week ago exactly almost.
I don't know that I graded this one. Wait. Because that is correct. So,
I didn't think it would be.
no, that is correct. So it looks like everything else on there is right, but that one should be right. So let me go in there and fix it.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that last one I probably got a couple wrong. I was not sure about that one.
Yeah.
And that one I'm also. Do you know what like help me with that one? Because I'm kind of confused.
You're right in concept.
Okay.
Um,
Does it need to be more specific or?
Tell me the difference. Tell me what a trace fossil is.
I don't remember like trace fossils like a fossil that proves that something existed without it actually being the fossil of
Right.
an animal. Right?
Yeah, evidence of the life without being a component of the life itself.
Okay. Yeah.
What does it look like you're seeing there in that picture?
Like the actual fossil, not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there you
That makes
go.
more
Those
sense.
are actual fossils, not trace fossils.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, not a problem. Yes.
So far, like what I understood, right, is that we have to draw like these little lines. So for example, since this is medium grain sandstone,
Yep.
I draw the line here.
Bingo.
Go all the way down.
Yes.
And then siltstone, since that's silt, it
Yes.
goes here, right, and then limestone goes
Yes.
here. And then I have to look at these, right, and then I have
For the
to,
lithology.
for-
You should probably finish the grain size for this last part, though.
Okay, and then like, cause I got confused because
Sure.
it says medium grain sandstone, right?
Coarse to medium, yes.
Towards medium, so that would be over here on
Yeah,
this.
so you'd pull this back over here
Uh-huh.
so that it's flush with either coarse or medium or somewhere in between.
Okay. And then after that, I have to draw these? Like,
Yeah, you'll need to fill that in with the appropriate symbols for the descriptions I gave.
and here do I have to fill this in?
You'll
too?
need to give me descriptions there for these symbols that I gave.
And so that would be like a combination. So like for example, like this would be like sand, like siltstone.
Yeah.
Sandy siltstone.
Yeah, sandy transitioning to sandy siltstone. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep, just like
makes
that.
sense. Okay.
Yep, and also remember, by the way, so I gave you coarse to medium grain sandstone up here, but there's fossiliferous limestone down there. So remember to keep that description or the way that you portray that here in your grain
so
size.
like here?
Yeah, so you see how there's like mid transitions in some of these based on what's inside here. I kind of started basic up here, and it gets a little more harder to read down here,
Yeah.
right? So just bear that in mind. There's going to be some mid-row transitions there.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was a little bit confused about.
Yeah, no worries. Of course. Always feel free to ask. Ooh, tranquil jazz lakeside ambiance for deep relaxing. Dang.
Symmetrical ripples are the ones that go both ways. Like,
Yeah, they're symmetrical on both sides of their slope. Do you remember what that means, what that represents? All right, well, let's poll the room. Under what circumstances would we have a symmetrical ripple?
you mean like where they would be?
Yeah. What sort of environment would you have that in?
The shore?
Why the shore?
Because it goes back and forth.
Exactly, where you have fluid going back and forth,
Control, we are currently
where you have fluids going back and forth with approximately equal power or force, you're going to smooth out the slopes on both sides of your ripple. Asymmetrical, you would have one direction of movement. Sand dunes, not so much. Those would be asymmetrical because wind typically goes one direction. It doesn't usually go this way, that way, and that way the other.
Sorry, I thought you said
No, symmetrical is going to be more like a beach, right? Where your water goes up and back, right?
would that be the old job?
No. High tide, low tide. You can get those there. Floodplains, where your water is kind of washing in and out of the river, and like this, sometimes you'll get this sort of action in a floodplain. Yeah.
tanks to make sure that they stay at 100%. Since, as throughout the countdown, that liquid propellant will start boiling off as it starts warming up, and it will then be vented out and released from the rocket, which you can see there on your screen. Now, on the liquid oxygen side, teams are now in topping phase for the core stage liquid oxygen tank. Topping is the in-between state of fast fill and replenish mode. Fast fill is where we spend the most of the time loading propellants. We load it at a much faster rate. Then once we reach a certain point, we will transition into topping to finish loading the tank to 100%. That is now where we are currently at in the core stage liquid oxygen tank. And following topping, we then transition into replenish. So we're in core stage liquid oxygen topping, we're in topping for the core stage liquid oxygen tank, and we are in replenish mode for both tanks on the liquid hydrogen for liquid hydrogen on the core stage and the upper stage. Now, meanwhile, on the liquid oxygen tank on the upper stage, teams just reported that they have now started chill down for that upper stage tank. This is the first step that is needed before we actually start flowing and loading that propellant on board. The reason this is done is to chill down the systems in line so they are ready to receive those super cold temperatures and not cause any potential damage.
Okay. What else? Any other questions? The what? Yes, there will be some of those. So it's the usual suspects, all the same stuff that you're used to in my exams. Short answers included.
Do Sunday, right?
Huh?
Do Sunday, right?
Due Sunday at midnight. Yep. So that it is all done and turned in, and maybe we can discuss it. If everyone's done it in time, we can discuss it in class that Monday. Okay?
So on that one, that was, we agreed as not trace fossils. Would it just be fossils then, or like?
That's an adequate answer. I haven't taught you how to tell different fossils apart from each other yet. Yeah. Yep. In Module 2, we'll start discussing what different fossils look like. The different branches of life, and how they came about, the way that they evolved. In Module 3, we'll talk about where in the geologic timeline all the different types of life occurred in. We are going to talk about dinosaurs. It's what? It just gets better. I love that you say that. Yeah, no. Next week when we start talking Module 2, things are going to get real interesting. Real fun. It's going to be a good time. You talk about sauropods? The really big, long-necked, plant-eating ones? Yeah, those are a group of dinosaurs called sauropods. And your question is? Well, dinosaurs are an off-branch from reptiles. They aren't true reptiles. They aren't just reptiles. They came from reptiles and made their own distinct group. They have hip structures, tooth structures, metabolisms that are all different from other animals in the group of reptiles. So we kind of classify them as their own thing. Still a matter of some debate in some circles as to whether or not they belong in Reptilia. They're in their own group of Dinosauria as far as most of us are concerned, though. So, did they have scales? Yes, at least most of the ones did. But it's difficult for us to tell if all of them did because skin is a soft tissue, and soft tissues do not fossilize very well.
Would dinosaurs be their own, actually, I don't know,
It's okay.
species, but like obviously they're different, like different families, but would they be like their own different, like animal, like different type?
Yeah, from reptiles.
No, from like other dinosaurs that we know.
Well, all dinosaurs fit into Dinosauria. That's what makes them dinosaurs. But there are absolutely different genus and species of dinosaurs. Okay? So a T-Rex is very different from a Brachiosaurus. But they both fit into the larger, broader group of Dinosauria. In the same way that we are primates, and so are orangutans, but we both fit into the larger group of mammals, right? There are hundreds of species of dinosaurs that we know of. Like I believe there's more than 1,000 species of dinosaurs we've identified at this point. Last time I actually looked up the number, it was like 800 something, but that was a long time ago. I'm sure it's more at this point. Huh? My favorite? I really like the dinosaurs and other animals that have sails on their backs. Sails. Like boats. Yeah, they have sails on their backs. Spinosaurus. Have you ever seen a picture of a Spinosaurus? Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't the only one. He belongs to a larger group of animals called Spinosaurs, but he's the one with the largest sail. But there's another animal, Amargasaurus was a sauropod that had sails on its back. There it is, right there. Yeah.
What was that cell used for?
That's an excellent question.
Would they like? Would they both live in water and?
Spinosaurus was not aquatic, but kind of amphibious to an extent, where it seemed to have been adapted for living and hunting in water. Spinosaurus. Look at its mouth, right? Very crocodilian. Less T-Rex, more crocodile. So it would seem that it adapted for less, I'm going to run and hunt and grab things on land, and more, I'm going to hang out in water and eat fish, sort of living. Okay? So that's a Spinosaurus. The sail could have been, because we have sailfish around today that have structures like this on their backs that help kind of give them a rudder for directional swimming, right? But it's unlikely that that would have evolved as a trait in a dinosaur. So there's a couple of other possibilities. There's always the possibility of sexual dimorphism, right? This is how you tell a male from a female in your species. Some have sails, some don't. Males grow sails that are bright and vibrant in color to attract females, right? Like what peacocks do, right? So we see that in animals today, so it's possible from back then. There's the other possibility of being used to heat your blood. Because here is this animal that we are going to talk about later on in this class. This is Dimetrodon. Dimetrodon is a pelycosaur, okay? It is an ancestor to dinosaurs and mammals. Reptiles and their ancestors have and had cold blood, which means that they need the sun or some other source to warm them up so that their metabolism can kick in, right? So if I am a like a giant amphibian, right? Or another early reptile. Remember, this is way pre-dinosaur. That needs to sit in the sun for an hour before my blood is warm enough for me to get out and move around and eat plants or hunt my own food. And then there's another animal that evolves with this gigantic sail on its back, and it can pump its blood through that sail, heat up its blood in the sun way faster using that sail. And that guy can get up and start hunting in 20 minutes. He's got a 40-minute head start on the rest of the other animals. He's going to find me and eat me before I can run away, right? Huge evolutionary advantage. So for animals like this, I am more prone to believe it was an evolutionary adaptation to improve its metabolism. So it's very possible that the Spinosaurus sail was used for the same thing. More or less a second time it evolved sort of deal. There's the other side of the equation, though, where it could have been an elephant ear. Do you know elephants have those big ears? Do you know why they have those big floppy ears? They're always flopping those ears around, right? They pump blood. They have enormous blood veins. They pump blood through those ears. Elephants have very, very large bodies, right? Their blood gets very hot in those bodies because they live out in the sun. So they have to find ways, they had to evolve ways to keep their blood cool. Otherwise, it would heat up and they would die. So they pump their blood through those ears, and they're always waving those ears around like fans to cool off their blood. And then it gets pumped back into their body after its little jaunt through the ears, okay? There's the possibility that the sails could have been used for that on a Spinosaurus. Not a blood heating, but a blood cooling mechanism, or maybe even both, right? When you need more heat in the morning, pump your blood in there. And in the if you've just gone running, right, or if it's way too hot, like if you're in a very hot season, you pump it in there and you kind of maybe go for a swim or wave your back around, and it helps cool off your blood. I like to think that maybe it was both, because Spinosaurs were very successful hunters in the fossil record for a while. They needed to have some sort of edge. What's the scariest, like the scariest looking dinosaur?
Or the most violent.
The most violent?
Like if we lived with them, which one would humans be most like afraid of? Like,
Well, the big ones, everyone's always talking about the big ones, but you could be able to hear and see those coming, you know, depending on where you live, they could probably break down your house and get you anyway. I think that out in the wild, these would be the scariest ones. Deinonychus. You guys have seen Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World movies, right? What they call velociraptors in there is really Deinonychus. Velociraptors were tiny.
they were the really fast ones, like at the beginning.
This is how big velociraptors actually were in real life. Yeah. So what they call velociraptors in Jurassic Park are actually Deinonychus. Well, huh? Yeah, that's true. Blue didn't have feathers. We believe that all of these, or at least most of these small dromaeosaurs and such, did have feathers at this point, because we found enough of them with feathers. It's a pretty fair bet. Still working on that. For now, though, it appears that the late stage ones at least had them at least on their arms. Very, very interesting. But yeah, these things hunted in packs, like wolves do today. Wolves have been apex predator in North America for a long time. These were the wolves of the Cretaceous. Okay. Very fast and surprisingly large brains for their body size. Now, they were pretty smart. They were pack hunters, and they were probably able to do a lot of the same sort of behaviors that wolves do today, where they were able to work together to trap their prey and hunt them. In Jurassic Park, they played around with that idea by, making the velociraptors learn how to open doors and stuff like that. Were these things mechanically inclined? Probably not. But imagine this, if you will, for a moment. An asteroid does not hit Earth 65 million years ago. Dinosaurs continue on their natural evolutionary path. The dinosaurs with the most smarts, the most brains, are the ones that continue to evolve, the ones that continue to become smarter because it's a positive evolutionary trait, as, obvious by us. There is some alternate reality out there where that asteroid didn't kill all the dinosaurs, where mammals didn't get the chance to fill the spaces left behind by the dead dinosaurs, where dromaeosaurs like Deinonychus were able to continue getting smarter and had 65 million years to develop a civilization and spread out and conquer the galaxy. There's an alternate reality out there where there's a dinosaur empire, probably. It's very fun to think about that. All right, any other questions related to the exam? It's been a minute since I got one. If we don't have one, I will go ahead and open the exam. You good? Everyone feel good with me opening the exam? All right, then I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna open the exam, and then I'm gonna head over to my my meeting I got going over there, and then I'll be back. Let's see. Let's fix that. That needs to be 11:59, otherwise it'll be on the wrong day. All right. Exam 1 is now open. Please do not discuss it with each other. You need to take it individually. If you do choose to take it here and now, you know what, just in case people are deciding to take it here and now, let's make sure that we're nice and quiet and respectful for other people's thought process, okay? Because they are working on it now and they do have a timetable. If any of you have any questions for me and you have not started the exam yet, please feel free to come find me individually or send me an email. But yeah, I'm going to head out to my thing and you guys hang out here and I'll be back in a little bit. What's up?
One question.
Yeah, what's up?
On the labs, is it unlimited attempts or?
You have an unlimited number of attempts on the labs in this class as well.
Okay.
I think some of them say 3 times.
I
But
was just about to ask if you don't mind just going and deleting one of them or something so I could.
do you not have enough attempts?
I literally just did all 3 of them. And I finally got to a reasonable ground.
Oh,
so.
I see. Hold on. Well, I'll need to go in and grade the most recent one before it'll let me delete any. So it might be a little bit before I get to that.
Okay, yeah, no rush.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, no worries. All right, everyone. That is live. Exam is open. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording here.